Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Before we start our Srimad Bhagavatam, let's do a simple Mangala Charana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaim Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nasta Presha Vadarishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavadi Naistikihi Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chaksuramritanjana Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutare Srimate Japataka Swami Iti Namne Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Padayane Gorakadadamdaya Nirigram Tarne Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 12, chapter number 11, chapter entitled The Summary Description of Mahapurusha. So in this chapter will be describing about Mahapurusha in the context of worship and the various expansion of the sun in each month. So in this chapter we will hear Sri Suta first tell Saunaka Rishi about the material objects through which one can understand the major limbs, the secondary limbs, the weapons, the garments of the Lord Sri Hari. Then Suta Goswami will outline the process of practical service by which a mortal soul can attain immortality. So let's begin with text number 1. Sri Saunaka said, O Suta, you are the best of the learned men and a great devotee of Supreme Lord. Therefore we now inquire from you about the definitive conclusion of all Tantra scriptures. Text number 2 and 3. All good fortune to you. Please explain to us who are very eager to learn the process of Kriya Yoga, practiced through regulated worship of the Transcendental Lord, the husband of the Goddess of Fortune. Please also explain how the Lord's devotees conceive of his limbs, associates, weapons, and the ornaments in terms of a particular material representation. By expertly worshipping the Supreme Lord, a mortal can attain immortality. Text number 4. Suta Goswami said, offering obeisances to my spiritual master, I shall repeat to you the descriptions of the opulence of Lord Vishnu given in the Vedas and Tantras by great authorities beginning from the lotus-born Brahma. Text number 5. The universal form Virat of this personality of Godhead include the 9 basic elements of creation, starting with the unmanifested nature and their subsequent transformation. Once this universal form is instilled with consciousness, the 3 planetary systems become visible within it. So here the 9 basic elements of creation are Prakriti, Sutra, Mahatattva, false ego, and the 5 subtle perceptions. The transformation are the 11 senses and the 5 gross material senses. Text number 6 and 8. This is the representation of the Supreme Lord as the universal person, in which the earth is his feet, the sky his navel, the sun his eyes, the wind his nostrils, the demigods of procreation his genitals, death his anus, and the moon his mind. The heavenly planets are his head, the directions his ears, the demigods protecting the various planets his many arms, the god of death is his eyebrow, shame his lower lip, greed his upper lip, delusion his smile, and the moonshine his teeth, while the trees are the Almighty Purusha's bodily hair, and the clouds the hair on his head. So here, various aspects of material creation such as the earth, the sun, the trees are sustained by various limbs of the universal body of the Lord. Thus, they are considered non-different from Him as described in this verse, which is meant for meditation. Text number 9. Just as one can determine the dimensions of an ordinary person of this world by measuring his various limbs, one can determine the dimension of Mahapurusha by measuring the arrangements of the planetary systems within his universal form. Text number 10. Upon his chest, the Almighty, unborn personality of Godhead bears the Kaustubha gem, which represents the pure spirit soul, along with the Srivasta mark, which is the direct manifestation of this gem expansive effulgence. Text number 11 and 12. His flower garland is his material energy, comprising various combinations of the mode of nature. His yellow garment is the Vedic meters, and his sacred thread, the syllable Om, composed of 3 sounds. In the form of his 2 shark-shaped earring, the Lord carries the processes of Sankhya and Yoga, and his crown, bestowing fearlessness on the inhabitants of all the worlds, is the supreme position of Brahmaloka. Text number 13. Ananta, the Lord's sitting place, is the unmanifested face of material nature, and the Lord's lotus throne is the mode of goodness, endowed with religion and knowledge. Text number 14 and 15. The club the Lord carries is the chief element, prana, incorporating the potencies of sensory, mental and physical strength. His excellent conch shell is the element water. His Sudarshan disc is the element of fire, and his sword, pure as the sky, the element ether. His shield embodies the mode of ignorance. His bow, named the Sringa, time, and his arrow-filled quiver, the working sensory organs. Text number 16. His arrows are said to be the senses, and his chariot is the active, forceful mind. His external appearance is the subtle subject of perception, and the gesture of his hands are the essence of all purposeful activities. So here, all activities is ultimately aimed at the supreme perfection of life, and this perfection is awarded by the merciful hand of the Lord. The gesture of the Lord's remove all fears from the heart of a devotee and elevate him to the Lord's own associate in the spiritual sky. Text number 17. The sun globe is the place where the Supreme Lord is worshipped. Spiritual initiation is the means of purification for the spirit soul, and rendering devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the process for eradicating all one's sinful reaction. So here one should meditate on the fiery sun globe as a place where God is worshipped. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of all effulgence, and thus it is fitting that he is properly worshipped on the glowing sun. Text number 18. Playfully carrying a lotus, which represents the various opulence designated by the word Bhaga, the Supreme Lord accepts service from a pair of chamara fans, which are religion and fame. Text number 19. O Brahmanas, the Lord's umbrella is his spiritual abode, Vaikuntha, where there is no fear, and Garuda, who carries the Lord of sacrifice in the threefold Vedas. Text number 20. The goddess of fortune, Sri, who never leaves the Lord's side, appears with him in this world as the representation of his internal potency. Vishvaksena, the chief among his personal associates, is known to be the personification of Pancharatra and other tantras. And the Lord's 8 doorkeepers headed by Nanda are his mystic perfection beginning with Anima. So here, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, the goddess of fortune is the original source of all material opulence. Material nature is directly controlled by the Lord's inferior energy, Mahamaya, whereas the goddess of fortune is his internal superior energy. Still, the opulence of the Lord's inferior nature has its source in the supreme spiritual opulence of the goddess of fortune. So, although the inferior energy of the Lord is infallible in her functions, her power to manifest temporarily illusory opulence exists by the grace of the internal potency, the goddess of fortune, who is the personal consort of the Supreme Lord. Very interesting to note here, in Padma Purana lists 18 doorkeepers of the Lord, starting with Nanda, Sunanda, Jaya, Vijaya, Chanda, Prachanda, Bhadra, Subhadra, Data, Vidata, Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundriksha, Vamana, Suku, Karna, Sarvanitra, Sumukha, and Suprasthita. Text number 21. Vasudeva, Sankarasana, Pradumna, and Aniruddha are the names of the direct personal expansion of the Supreme Godhead, O Brahmana Saunaka. Text number 22. One can conceive of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of awakening consciousness, sleep, and deep sleep, which function respectively through external objects, the mind, and the material intelligence, and also in terms of the fourth, transcendental level of consciousness, which is characterized by pure knowledge. Text number 23. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, thus appears in 4 personal expansion, each exhibiting major limbs, minor limbs, weapons, and ornaments. Through this distinct feature, the Lord maintains the 4 phases of existence. Text number 24. O best of Brahmanas, he alone is the self-luminous original source of the Vedas, perfect and complete in his own glory. By his material energy, he creates, destroys, and maintains this entire universe. Because he is the performer of various material functions, he is sometimes described as materially divided. Yet he is always remaining transcendentally situated in pure knowledge. Those who are dedicated to him in devotion can realize him to be the true soul. So here Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur recommends that we become humbled by practicing the following meditation. The earth, which is always visible to me, is the expansion of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is always to be meditated upon. All moving and non-moving living beings have taken shelter of the earth and are thus sheltered at the lotus feet of my Lord. For this reason, I should respect every living being and not envy anyone. In fact, all living entities constitute the Kaustubha gem on my Lord's chest. Therefore, I should never envy or deride any living entity. By practicing this meditation, one can achieve success in life. Text number 25. O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief among the descendants of Vrishti, you are the destroyer of all political parties that are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and your most sacred glories, which are sung by Vrindavana, cowherd men and women and their servants, bestow all auspiciousness just by being heard. O Lord, please protect your devotees. Text number 26. Anyone who recites early in the morning and with a purified mind fixes upon the Mahapurushas, quietly chants this description of his characteristics, will realize him as the supreme absolute truth residing within the heart. Text number 27 to 28. Sri Saunaka said, "Please describe to us who have great faith in your words the different sets of 7 personal features and associates the sun god exhibits during each month, along with their names and activities. The associates of the sun god who serve their Lord are personal expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari in his feature as the presiding deity of the sun." So here, after hearing an account of the exalted conversation between Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, Saunaka now inquires about the sun as the expansion of the Supreme Lord. Although the sun is the king of all planets, Sri Saunaka is specifically interested in this effulgent globe as the expansion of Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The personalities related with the suns are the 7 categories. In the course of the sun's orbit, there are 12 months. In each month, a different sun god and a different set of his 6 associates preside. In each of the 12 months, beginning with Vaishaka, there are different names for the sun god himself: the sage, the yakshas, the gandharvas, the apsaras, the rakshasas, the nagas, making a total of 7 categories. Text number 29. Suta Goswami said, "The sun travels among all the planets and thus regulates their movement. It has been created by Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Soul of all embodied beings, through his beginningless material energy." Text number 30. The sun god, being non-different from Lord Hari, is the one soul of all worlds and their original creator. He is the source of all the ritualistic activities prescribed in the Vedas and has been given many names by the Vedic sages. Text number 31. Being the source of all material energies, the personality of Godhead Lord Hari, in his expansion as the sun god, is described in 9 aspects. O Saunaka, the time, the place, the endeavor, the performer, the instrument, the specific ritual, the scripture, the paraphernalia of worship, and the result to be achieved. Text number 32. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, manifesting his potency of time as the sun god, travels about in each of the 12 months, beginning with Madhu, to regulate planetary motion within the universe. Traveling with the sun god in each of the 12 months is a different set of 6 associates. Text number 33. My dear sage, Dhata as the sun god, Kartashali as the Apsara, Heti as the Rakshasa, Vasuki as the Naga, Rathakrit as the Yaksha, Pulastya as the sage, and Tumburu as the Gandharva rule the month of Madhu. Text number 34. Aryama as the sun god, Pulaha as the sage, Atauja as the Yaksha, Prahiti as the Rakshasa, Punjikasthali as the Apsara, Narada as the Gandharva, and Kachhanira as the Naga rule the month of Madhava. Text number 35. Mitra as the sun god, Atri as the sage, Paurushaya as the Rakshasa, Takshaka as the Naga, Menaka as the Apsara, Haha as the Gandharva, and Radhasvana as the Yaksha rule the month of Sukra. Text number 36. Vashishta as the sage, Varuna as the sun god, Ramba is the Apsara, Sahajanya is the Rakshasa, Huhu is the Gandharva, Sukra is the Naga, Chitrasvana is the Yaksha, ruled the month of Suchi. Text number 37. Indra is the sun god. Vishwa Vasu is the Gandharva. Strota is the Yaksha. Ela Patra is the Naga. Angira is the sage. Pramolochan is the Apsara. And Varya is the Rakshasa, ruled the month of Nabas. Text number 38. Vivashwan is the sun god. Ugrasena is the Gandharva. Vyahara is the Rakshasa. Asrana is the Yaksha. Brigu is the sage. Anum Lochan is the Apsara. And Sankalpala is the Naga, ruled the month of Nabasya. Text number 39. Pusa is the sun god. Dhananjaya is Naga. Vata is the Rakshasa. Susena is the Gandharva. Suruchi is the Yaksha. Gartachi is the Apsara. And Gautama is the sage, ruled the month of Tapas. Text number 40. Ritu is the Yaksha. Varcha is the Rakshasa. Bhardwaj is the sage. Prajanya is the sun god. Senajit is the Apsara. Vishwa is the Gandharva. And Ayurvata is the Naga, ruled the month known as Tapasya. Text number 41. Amsu is the sun god. Kasyapa is the sage. Tarakshya is the Yaksha. Ratsena is the Gandharva. Urvasi is the Apsara. Viyoj Chatru is the Rakshasa. Mahasankha is the Naga, ruled the month of Shahas. Text number 42. Bhaga is the sun god. Sprirujja is the Rakshasa. Aristanimi is the Gandharva. Urna is the Yaksha. Ayur is the sage. Karkotaka is the Naga. And Purvachiti is the Apsara, ruled the month of Pushya. Text number 43. Twasta is the sun god. Jamadagni, the son of Rika, as the sage. Kambalaswa is the Naga. Tilotama is the Apsara. Brahmapeta is the Rakshasa. Satajit is the Yaksha. And Ditrastra is the Gandharva, maintained the month of Isha. Text number 44. Vishnu is the sun god. Asvatara is the Naga. Ramba is the Apsara. Surya Varcha is the Gandharva. Satyajit is the Yaksha. Vishwamitra is the sage. And Mahapeta is the Rakshasa, ruled the month of Urja. Text number 45. All these personalities are the opulent expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, in the form of the Sun God. These deities take away all the sinful reaction of those who remember them each day at dawn and sunset. Text number 46. Thus, throughout the 12 months, the Lord of the Sun travels in all directions with his 6 types of associates, disseminating among the inhabitants of this universe purity of consciousness for both this life and the next. Text number 47 to 48. While the sages glorify the sun god with the hymns of the Sama, Rig and Yajur Veda, which reveal his identity, the Gandharvas also sing his praise, and the Apsaras dance before the chariot. The Nagas arrange the chariot ropes, and the Yakshas harness the horses to the chariot, while the powerful Rakshasas push from behind. Text number 49. Facing the chariot, the 60,000 Brahmana sages known as Valakilas travel in front and offer prayers to the Almighty Sun God with the Vedic mantras. Text number 50. For the protection of all the worlds, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, who is unborn and without beginning or end, thus expends himself during each day of Brahma in these specific categories of his personal representation. Thus ends the purport of the humble servant of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada to the 12th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Summary Description of Mahapurusha.